Namaste, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. So this week I've been sharing, since last week I started in an organized way to share a portion of the Yoga Sutras that it's called the kleshas. And the kleshas are usually translated as the roadblocks of our practice. And last week I worked the whole week with the first one, and that first portion of the sutras talks about returning or recognizing or carving a practice of remembering that our innermost self, it's something that it's never changing. It's our essence. And even though everything else changes in our lives, our skin, our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, our possessions, the only thing that doesn't is that essence that we have, and it's lit from we are born until after we are gone. So that was the first one. The second one, so why a roadblock? Because sometimes we forget, right, that the essence of who we are is where it's the place where we come back to, and the place that keeps us steady and grounded in our hearts, in our minds, in our lives. That's why we call it a roadblock. So the second one, it's the one that I've been sharing this week, and it's one that it's called, in Sanskrit we call it asmita, but the translation is I amness or ego. And sometimes I like to use I amness more because ego sounds kind of like mean. But this one is related to the fact that we all have egos, which are part of who we are, our names, our labels, the titles that we have in our lives that people give us and we give ourselves, and they are all good. But how, when we attach too much or we cling too much to all of those things that, again, they are changing and they are temporary, we can have suffering. So I'm going to read a little bit about it. I found a really nice old article that explains a little bit this idea. So it says, asmita or ego happens when you identify with the parts of yourself that change. Everything from your mind to your body, appearance, or job title, instead of identifying with the quiet place within you that does not change. It is when you mistakenly believe on some level that how you look or you feel or what you do for a living, even how nice or beat up of a car you drive, has something to do with who you are, and that these things define you, instead of recognizing that your true self, who you are at your core, is unchanging. This false identification is common to everyone because our external qualities inevitably influence how we see ourselves. You may identify with your gender, your sexual preference, your ethnicity, or the style of yoga you practice. Perhaps your perception of yourself includes that you are tall, muscular, sensible, brunette, compassionate, a parent, a yoga practitioner, and a gourmet cook. These qualities are a big part of how you see yourself and how your loved ones and friends see you, and appreciating and enjoying them is an important part of the way you engage in the world. The challenge, and where the lesson of this sutra lies, is that while it is great to appreciate and value all these aspects of yourself, if you identify too closely with the changeable aspects of yourself, the sutra says that you set yourself up for disappointment and suffering. So the idea here, which I'll share later as we move, is that this practice is about carving this continual or constant self-acceptance. So when we nurture ourselves and we create a relationship with ourselves, the parts of ourselves that are not changing, our essence, then we connect with the true nature, authentic self, as often as possible, and we get to that place that it's what we call the wisdom place, the knowing place, and then we feel better. So we'll start by closing the eyes if they are not closed already. Let your palms rest. Take a couple of breaths. Just releasing the weight of your base into your support. And give yourself a moment to notice sensations, to create a connection with your breath, and to notice emotions, thoughts, all of the things that are happening, let's say, a little bit in the outside. And we sit with those, we recognize them, we don't push them away. We give ourselves a moment to acknowledge, and then in compassion and loving kindness, we let them sit at the edges of our skin, of our bodies, and we drop in a little deeper with our gaze towards the spiritual heart. And see if you can find for today maybe a memory, maybe just a visualization of a place or a situation where you feel like you are your best self. Maybe it can be a memory that you associate with a feeling, perhaps a spot under a tree you loved as a kid, or a memory of playing a favorite game with someone you love. Anything, I'm just throwing examples, but something that you can associate with this feeling of feeling whole. And as you reflect on this memory, try to connect with that feeling of who you are at your core. How you feel at your most authentic self. And once you feel connected to this place or memory where you most feel like yourself, remember that even though your body and your circumstances may have changed, that same person is within you. If there's maybe a particular circumstance that is troubling you in the present moment, try to cultivate feelings of compassion and friendliness towards yourself. And you can even imagine how a friend or a loved one would comfort you in this situation. So today, as we practice, an invitation to tap into this place. Finding your core, your true self. And letting the things that are changeable stay a little bit at the border and drop and being released. Let's bring our palms together with the thumbs resting in front of the heart. And in this place, an opportunity to dedicate your practice to whoever may come to mind, perhaps someone you admire, you cherish, or simply someone who may be in need of your yoga today. If you choose to join me, we'll open with the Om sound one time, inhaling deeply. Big exhale. Then breathing in again. Then we connect the head down to the hands and the heart just for a moment, the three together, mind, body, soul. And then we release the palms, lifting the head and opening the eyes. Welcome again, everyone. Let's move on to our mats. Make sure you take a belt and you make a loop or a scarf that you tie maybe so you can use it. And we'll start moving. So I have mine is already set up. So as you can see, I made a loop. And we are going to start today by coming onto our mat, sitting. I'll wait for a moment so you can prepare. And once you have your loop or that scarf or that towel maybe, I'm going to bring both my feet inside and I'm going to kind of like tie myself, right? So I have both my legs inside the belt and I'm going to place the belt halfway between my knees and my hips. And if you don't have any lower back pain, you're going to make that belt taut so the legs are together. If your lower back has some issues or sensitivity or there's something going on, then you're going to keep your legs hip distance apart and you're going to make that belt just that distance so you can break into it without the legs being together, okay? So for the second version, it would be almost like if you have a block in between your legs, so you have that space in between. If you don't have any issues in the back, then you make it taut like I'm doing. And I have again that belt in between my knees and my hips. Maybe you can't see because of the color of my pants, but it's like right in between. So it's in where the quads are and it's kind of like thick. Once I have that, I'm going to come onto my back. And we are going to release here for a moment, feeling the whole body onto this supine, right, Tadasana. So imagine if you were standing, right, when we stand and we take Tadasana shape or Samastiti, that we call it, we want to create this same action. So first we start more like releasing the muscles and the bones just to sense here the body first. And then as you feel ready, I want you to slowly start activating your legs by breaking into the belt that you have from the top, from the sides, and also in the part behind, the one that is closest to your mat, to start feeling how the blood is going to be moving more. There's maybe going to be tingling on your feet or your toes. And we create that action trying to lengthen. I'm using even my hands underneath my glutes to lengthen them down towards the mat or towards the back of the mat, towards my heels, and create more length through the back plane of my body, okay? I'm actively pressing into the belt like if I want to break it. So I'm really starting to feel how my muscles are activated more and I'm pumping blood into the heart by doing this. Now I want you to try and push through your heels, the center of your heels, push them away from your body and then at the base of your toes as well. I already feel a lot of burning in my legs. So I want you to keep that action in the legs to start pumping more blood into the rest of your body. And then slowly inhale and send your arms overhead with the palms parallel to each other, facing each other. Extend your fingernails away from your heels and the heels away from the hands, and feel that stretch in the sides as you keep breaking into that belt, lengthening the sacrum towards your heels. Feel the back of your head, the back of your chest. So we have everything supported by the mat, and we want to profit of this opportunity of being supported completely to really lengthen and make the elbows straight and bring the whole side body into more length. Good, then exhale, release the arms. Good, bend your knees for a moment. And we are going to move that belt now. So you will need to make it a little wider. I'm going to make it wider now. I'm trying. And I'm going to bring the belt a little higher until it is right around my hips. So here it's kind of like where your pelvis is, right? So you will feel the belt mostly on your pelvis, and you want to kind of like the widest part of your hips. That's where you want the belt to be. And then again, I'm going to extend my legs. Once you did that, we extend the legs again. And now we are going to feel right at the top of your legs how that belt is hugging into your body. And we're going to try and keep the sensation there, right? So now we are going to keep that, and we still feel that sensation of breaking into the belt, and it's firming those two hip bones into the center. And again, I'm going to inhale and send my arms overhead. And even though here I don't have the belt around the quad, so it's less of that sensation in the legs, I want you to imagine that you have a second belt in the first place that we had, and you're breaking into that imaginary belt and pushing through the center of the heels. And from here, we are going to bend the elbows and grab with your opposite hands each elbow, and we are going to extend the elbows away from the head. So again, imagine you're pushing into now two belts, the one that you had in the beginning and the second one that you have on your hips. Keep that, pressing through the inner heels and base of the toes. And then slide your trunk and your elbows and your head towards the left. So I'm sliding on my mat, right? A little bit like a half moon or banana shape. And I'm keeping my elbows down on the floor, so they are not lifted, right? They are down. I slid all the way to the left as far as I can go. And now I'm going to breathe in and out a couple of times into the right side of the body. Keep pushing through the center of your heels and inner heels, toning the quads. Your quads should feel like they are active and pumping blood. And breathe into that right side, one more breath. And then we slowly return to the center. Reset the body by pressing through the heels, lengthening through the sacrum. And now we'll slide towards the right. And once I get to the place where I feel it's my limit, I'm going to try and breathe into the left side of the body, feeling that length and opening into the second side. Notice if there's a lot of arching in your lower back, and see if you can lengthen a little bit more through the lumbars and the sacrum. Good, and then we slowly return back to the Tadasana shape, and then release the arms. Good, then we're going to rebend the knees. We are going to make that belt loose so we can move it out, and we are going to take it out of the legs for a moment. Okay, I'm still going to keep this loop for a moment to use it one more time, and I'm going to invite you to have an extra prop like a pillow or a block or maybe a couple of blocks so we can use them as a support. I'm going to put it on my right side and I'll show you what we are going to do next. So I'm going to keep my left leg extended and I'm going to put the belt right at the heel of my right foot. And with the rest of the belt, I'm actually holding or hooking my hands there so I can press the right heel towards the ceiling. The left leg is extended, but if your lower back is sensitive here and it's not feeling well, you can bend the left knee and put the left foot on your mat, okay? If you're okay here, just press through the center of your heel. And again, activate the front of your right leg and imagine you're pressing or breaking into the first belt that we put around the quads, okay? So we want to activate that, press through the inner heel, base of your big toe and pinky toes, and take 2 breaths. Good, and then I'm going to hold that belt only with my right hand, and I'm going to keep my left hand onto my left hip point or that bony landmark that I have, and I'm going to slowly start opening the right leg until it lands into my support. So you see how my block is holding? So I'm not going all the way. I'm trying to keep more of an even pelvis, and when I get there, I'm going to try and push more through the inner, more through the outer right heel. So I'm activating more of the outer line of the leg. So outer right heel, push it away from your body. And as you do that, release your trunk down and imagine your abdomen moving from right to left. So my organs and the lower belly, they are revolving, let's say, from right to left. My left leg is still straight and I'm trying to push through that heel for one more breath. Good, and then with the next inhalation, I'm going to bring that right leg back up I'm going to switch hands, holding with my left hand. You can bring your right arm to the side or like a T-letter or just lying on the side. And now I'm going to try and activate my inner heel more and move my right leg just 10 inches to the left. So as you can see in the camera, I'm not going really far, I'm not crossing all the way. It's just a few inches. So we feel a lot in the IT band perhaps, or outer glute, or the hamstring. So we stay there, and even though the outer side is the one that may feel more itchy, let's say, I want to push a lot into the inner heel. Take a couple of breaths. Good, and then we return, bend the right knee, and extend the right leg next to the left, and just take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Notice any throbbing, pulsing sensations in one leg compared to the other, okay? Good, pausing, pressing the pause button always gives us a chance to discover or reconnect with areas in our bodies and sensations that we may forget or not give so much attention. Let's move into the second side. I'm going to just switch for space reasons. So from here, I'm going to now go with my belt into my left heel, and I'm going to push through that left heel to extend the leg. What I'm trying to do is activate that quad, like if I had the belt right around it. So I'm pressing or breaking into that imaginary belt, activating my kneecap, and I'm trying to hug the bones, right? And from there, pressing into the inner and outer heel. Then I'm pressing into the base of my big toe and pinky, and taking a couple of breaths. Right leg extended, pushing through the heel towards the end of your room or your mat, or bending the knee and putting the foot down if you need. From there, I'm going to use again my support for the leg. With my left hand, I'm holding the belt so I can open the leg to the point where I have a support. And for one side, it may be different than for the other, so you may need to adjust that height like I'm doing. And I'm not forcing the leg to go really far. What I want to do here is to be able to widen the pelvis and the lower belly and create the action of spinning the stomach from left to right. And from here, I'm just releasing my shoulders, breathing a couple of times, pushing into the outer heel a little more, even though we feel more of the inner leg extending and opening. There's my prop. One more breath. Yay. And then slowly we return, bringing the leg back up. I'm going to switch the hand. And then from here, I'm going to try and just bring the leg 10 degrees to the opposite side, okay? The other arm can stay on the side. And what I'm going to try and do, even though I'm going to feel it more into the outer line of the leg, I'm trying to push the inner heel away from my groin. Take a couple of breaths here. These stretches that we do supine before moving more, they are actually really beneficial for the whole rest of the body, because all of these muscles are connected to the spine, right? The lower back and the back muscles. So once we open this a little bit more, then it's easier to move. Then we return to center, we bend that knee, and we extend that leg next to the opposite leg. Take a breath here. Good. And then for a moment, bring the soles of the feet together and your knees wide. So it's like the Baddha Konasana, the supine butterfly shape. Make your heels press into one another and push them intentionally, so you can feel that the center of the heels moving into one another. That will force also a little bit more opening in the groins and the hip flexors. And from there again, we are going to inhale and send arms overhead. Again, hold opposite elbows. If you remember, switch the hand that goes on top and extend through the arms again. One more time. Don't lose the grip in the heels. Push them into one another. Good, and then we release that. Bring the knees towards each other. Lift one arm so you can roll over to the side, and we'll come up towards hands and knees, okay? Good. So from here into the hands and knees, first make sure that you have your wrists under your shoulders and that your hips are right above your knees. I usually spin my fingers a little bit towards the long sides of the mat, just like half an inch, to create more opening in the chest and give more power into the upper back. And from here, we'll take 3 times the cat-cow, inhaling, opening the front of the spine, lifting the heart, exhaling, bringing the navel into the body to bring the chin down, and opening the upper back. Again, inhale, create connection between the breath and the body, and exhale. One more, inhaling, and exhale. Good, we return towards the neutral, and with the left arm first, we'll inhale the left arm up. We're going to create a flow, exhaling, we thread to the right. We'll go back a few times. Inhaling, opening the chest, exhale, and cross. 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Go with the breath. One more. Good. This time we stay here. Press with your right hand to help the torso twist a little more. Relax the left cheek or the head down. One more breath. We push into the right hand to return to the tabletop, and we'll switch sides for 5. Inhaling, exhaling with thread. Inhale, you go with your breath and just showing the movement. Exhale. Good. 3 more. Inhaling. Exhale. Beautiful. Just checking that everything is okay. Again, you go with your breath. Inhaling. Nice. Exhale. Last one. Beautiful. Once you get back to the neutral, from here we are going to check again the hands so we can spin them again, half an inch. We are going to move the knees a few inches behind the hips, and I want us to bring the feet almost to the edges of your mat, so they are really wide compared to our usual downward facing dog. From there, we are going to tuck the toes, and we are going to start moving up into down dog, but we'll stay with the knees bent for a little. So push into your hands and slowly start moving the hips up, the sitting bones up, and we'll keep the knees bent, and we'll push the mat away to create length in the sides of the body first, feeling a little bit of that back bend that is happening in the lower back or in the spine, and sending the chest towards your thighs for a moment there, okay? I'm keeping my heels high for now. And then you can start pedaling your feet a few times, not too strong, but just moving, like if you're walking, right, your dog a few times. Relaxing the head, dropping the weight of the head and the neck. Good. And then from there, if your lower back is sensitive or there's stuff going on there, I'm suggesting that you keep your knees micro bending or bent, okay? At least a little bit. If you are okay in your lower back, let's bring the bottom of the pelvic floor up towards your navel, then bring your ribs in, down towards your pelvis, and firm your hips in, like the place where you have the bell, the second bell that we put, and firm those hips into each other, and then send the heels towards the back of your mat. So we are trying to engage our core here as well. Pelvic floor lifts, ribs move in and down, hips move in, and it's like a diamond shape. We are lifting from the bottom, we are hugging from the sides, and we are bringing the ribs down. Push the mat away there, spread the toes as much as you can, press into the inner heels, lift your inner arches. I want you to imagine that you have two tennis balls in the inner arches of your feet. So you are pressing through the base of your toes, then the inner arches are lifted, and then the heels are trying to touch down again. Good, and then from there, we'll walk the hands back to the feet. Bend the knees if you need for a moment. Release your trunk there over the legs. Notice how you are placing your body in your feet. See if you can again activate center of the heels, base of the toes, lifting the inner arches, and perhaps lengthening the inner legs a little more towards your groins. If that is not possible, you keep the knees bent at all times. It's all good. Okay, you can swing a little bit if you want here from side to side, and you can also add a little movement in the neck, saying no or yes, just a few times there before we make it to the top. Good. I want you to be very mindful of your base before coming up, okay? So base of the big toes, pinkies, lifting the inner arches, pressing into the inner heels. We'll bring the hands into the hips, rolling the shoulders back, draw the abdomen up, lengthen slowly, halfway, front spine gets tall, and we come up to standing. Nice. We are here in Tadasana. We'll bring the feet hip distance apart. And from here, we'll inhale, arms up overhead. Hook your thumbs, extend through the sides of your body, opening the chest. And again, notice the position of your feet. So make your base really strong because it's what's supporting your whole posture, okay? So center of the heels, lifting the inner arches, pressing into the base of the toes. You can even lift your toes to make sure that you're using the base of them. I'm doing that. And then lifting the inner arches into the inner legs up. Good. We are going to release and bring the arms into a cactus shape and keeping the legs as they are in the same distance. We are going to bend into the Utkatasana shape. I want you to try and bring the underside of your shoulder blades into each other. So keep that action with the arms, bring the shoulder blades in, drop the sitting bones a little further down, draw the base of your pelvic floor up, opening the chest, see if you can sit a little lower, bring the weight a little bit more into your heels, draw the navel in and up towards your nose, and then we inhale again, arms overhead, we exhale and we fold, and we walk ourselves into downward facing dog. Now we find a regular down dog with the feet parallel to each other, maybe hip distance or a little wider, the one that fits for you. Push the floor away again with your hands, relaxing the neck and the head. Draw the pelvic floor up, ribs down. Good. From here, we are going to inhale the right leg up and back, bringing the right knee towards the chest. We take a plank pose. Lift that knee up, draw the navel in, and then bring that right foot forward, left knee comes down. Good. Once we get here, we lift up into the low lunge. Inhaling, arms up overhead, hook the thumbs, extend through the sides. One more breath, lengthening the sacrum, lifting through the front. Good, I'm going to release the hands and put them on top of the right thigh. And we are going to inhale, arch the spine like when we do the cow cat. And with the exhale, push your thighs and round the upper back, bring the navel in. Good, let's keep these. And now I'm going to release the arms and bring the arms up again. Hook the thumbs again and let the hips come forward. Good, extend through the sides, open the chest, go a little further up and back. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Left leg goes up, inhaling. Exhale, come to the plank pose, knee coming towards the chest. Push the floor away, lift that knee a little higher, left foot forward, right knee comes down, we untuck the back toes, and we go up. Good, inhaling, arms overhead, hooking the thumbs. If you remember, you put the opposite thumb on top, and then lengthen through the sides. Opening the chest, sacrum down. We release, and this time we put the hands on top of that left thigh. From here, I'm going to inhale, arch, and then exhale, push your quads so you can round more. You'll feel more of a stretch perhaps in that right hip flexor, which is the idea. Draw the abdomen in. Try to keep this so less arching now, and I'm sending the arms up overhead one more time. Extend through the sides. And now I'm going to let the hips drop forward, opening more into that back bend. Releasing the hands, back to downward facing dog. Good, push through the hands, press into the center of the heels, even if they are not touching down, draw the navel up, bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhaling, we lift halfway, shoulders back. Exhaling, we fold. Inhaling, arms overhead. And we exhale into Tadasana. Now remember the first posture we took, it was Tadasana on the mat, we were lying down. I want you to try and find that sensation like you did on your mat here standing. So press through the center of the heels, the base of your toes, activating the legs all the way to your pelvis. Feel the sacrum and the lumbars being supported, right? Like we had the mat before, so they can lengthen down towards your heels. And from there, we create lift. Inhaling, arms up overhead, lace the fingers, press your palms up. Imagine that you have the belt on your quads, and from the belt, your arms are getting taller. So your arms start in your belt. Lengthen the sacrum down. Good. Exhaling, we fold. Inhaling halfway. Exhale, right leg back, right knee comes down. We come to where we were before. Inhaling, arms up overhead. This time we'll bring the hands into the heart. We'll reconnect with our center. Good. And now we are going to take one twist that it's forcing, or it's meant to open the thoracic spine more than the usual. So I'm going to bring my left elbow inside the left thigh. It's like the opposite way of what we usually twist, okay? So it's not that I did wrong, it's on purpose. So that elbow is going into the inner left thigh, and the thigh and the elbow, they are pressing into one another. And I'm going to push my right palm into my left one so I can bring the belly and the chest a little further up to the right. Roll the shoulders back, draw the belly, spinning it up towards the ceiling, chest the same. One more breath. Good, then we return to center. Inhale here, and let's take the usual twist. Right elbow to the left, push the elbow and the leg into one another, lift through the abdomen, and we go towards the left. Shoulder blades into the back of your heart. Back to center. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg goes up and back. Right foot comes forward, left knee comes down. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, left foot comes forward and we fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, we fold. Press through the feet, inhaling, coming all the way up. Exhaling to center. Namaste. Second side, inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling, Uttanasana, folding. Inhaling, halfway. Exhaling, left leg goes back, left knee comes down. And we come up again. Inhaling, arms up. And this time, hands to the heart. Good. We connect again. Breath, center. And we'll create that mistaken twist, let's say. Right elbow inside the right thigh. I'm going to press into the base of the toes. I still lift my inner right arch. And I'm pushing arm and leg into one another. So I can really create more of that thoracic and abdominal twist towards the left. Shoulder blades down. Firm the right hip into your body and try to keep bringing chest and belly up. Good. Inhaling back to center. And we take the regular twist, left elbow to the right. Push the hands into one another, right palm over the left, push it down. Belly and chest moving up. Good. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling, we go to downward facing dog. Inhaling, left leg goes up. Exhale, left foot forward, right knee down. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, right foot forward, and we fold. Halfway, lift the navel towards the chest. Exhale. Press through the feet. Feel your base to come all the way up. And we come to standing. Namaste. Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. Let's take a block now. And with a block or a couple of thick books, I want you to put that block long, right in between your knees and your thighs. So I'm putting it a little bit into my knees, but also going up towards the thighs. And I want you to find your Tadasana there, press into, of course, we are hugging into that block. And as you do that, try and see if you can lift from your inner arches into that block. And imagine you're not only hugging the block in, but you're also trying to push it back towards the wall that you have behind you, or the bed, or the furniture that is behind. So we are creating a lot of a big hugging action into the block and back, so it's like an internal rotation of those thighs. And as you're doing that and you're pressing also with the inner knees, see if you can send your outer knees a little bit back as well. Because when we are bringing the inner knees in, the outer knees, they go forward, right? So see if you can balance them and send them also a little bit back. You'll feel a lot of action through the legs and the glutes. That's what we want to have. Inhale, arms up overhead. Beautiful. With your left hand, catch your right forearm. Pull the air, keep the actions in the legs. So try not to lose them. And then tilt towards your left to open up the right side. Squeeze that block. Try to balance the inner and the outer knees. Glutes are super active. Then we inhale, we come back up. Exhale and release. Nice. Second side. Reset the legs first. I want you to be very mindful. It's our base. And from there, we pump blood to our heart center. Today, we are coming back to the heart. From there, inhaling, arms up. Beautiful. Right hand catching the left forearm. pull, 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 pull. Squeeze those glutes. Squeeze the knees into that block and balance the outer knees going back. We go to the side. Good. Inhaling, we come back. Exhale and release. Keep that block where it is. Hold with your left hand, your right forearm again, just in front of me. I'm going to go like this so you can see. Make a fist with your right hand and then do a few circles with that wrist. Nice. Just a few times. Good. I'm still holding my block, right? So I'm holding with my knees. I'm creating that strong action in the Tadasana. And then I'm going to switch. I'm holding opposite arm, make a fist, and do a few rolls. Maybe there's some clicking or clacking action sounds there. Good. Very nice. Okay. We are going to move this block now a little higher. So it's almost almost touching your pelvis. So I'm going a little higher. And from there, come onto your mat. Keep that block where it is. Bring your hands down. We're going to take downward facing dog. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but see if you can create that action of holding that block. Press the block into the back of your room. So you're pushing it back, and then see if you can activate the inner arches, lifting up, inner legs, they are fiery. Press into the base of the toes. Bring the ribs down and in, pelvic floor up, push the floor away. Good, and then bring the knees down. Let's take that block out to the side. Good. All of these actions that we are doing with the block and igniting the actions in the feet, I want us to use them in the postures, every single posture, okay? So from here now we'll go into the regular down dog one more time without the block. Inhale your right leg up and back. Bring that right knee to the chest into a plank. Lift the knee up, hollow the belly so you can make space to put the right foot forward. Good, this time we keep the back knee off the mat. Squeeze in between your legs like if you have the block that we just put before. I want you to recreate that action. Push into the back heel, lift the front inner arch, bring your hands to your thighs like we did before. Good, push the thighs so you can lift the torso up, and it's a little bit more of that rounded action like we did before, okay? Bring the arms up overhead, crescent lunge, tone those inner legs, press into the base of the front big toe, lift through the sides. Good, then we'll bring the arms behind, lace the fingers, roll the shoulders back, extend through the arms, sacrum long, draw the navel up. Good. Inhaling, arms up. Keep the legs super active. Imagine you still have that block. We lean forward and we bring the arms back. One more breath. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll inhale from here, take a plank pose. Use your knees first if you need to come down, or bending the elbows. We come all the way to the mat. Fingertips right off your mat to the sides. Roll the shoulders, extend through the legs. Cobra pose, opening up the chest. Shoulder blades down. Exhale. Hands under the shoulders, tuck your toes. Up we go, now we're facing down. Nice, second side. Left leg, inhale. Exhale, left foot forward. Tone through the inner legs, imagine that block in between. Push through the back heel. Bring the hands on top of your left thigh. Push the thigh away so you bring the navel in, a little bit more of that cat shape. Good, keep that. Bring the arms up, lengthen through the sides. Bending that front knee, Push through the base of the back big toe. Good. Keep the hips firming into the midline, lengthen through the sides. Let's bring the arms behind. Put the opposite thumb, if you remember, roll the shoulders back, opening up through the chest. Super strong legs to support the rest and open up the heart. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, lean forward, bring the arms back. Lift that right thigh into your bones, inner thigh lifting up towards the ceiling, like if you're pushing that block. We come back, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling, we go to plank. Exhaling, we come all the way down. Good, this time we're going to send the arms back, palms facing down. Roll the shoulders back again, extend through the legs. The navel is moving into your body and your sacrum is moving towards your heels. From there, we inhale and we lift. One more breath. Good, release the hands, tuck your toes, and we go to downward facing dog. Good, bring your knees down, widen the knees, sit back, and child's pose for a moment. Take a minute here, I'll tell you until when. We have 1 full minute to rest and return to our center. Good. Notice your breath. Slowly move back into a fluid cycle. And if you notice thoughts, emotions, don't push them away, acknowledge those. And then just let them stay at the borders, a little bit at the edge of your practice today, so you can dive again a little deeper into the essence, the things that are changing. They stay more in the outside. And as we move deeper in, we connect more to what's unaffected. Our essence, our spirit, our soul. Just a few more cycles here. Good. One last breath. And then slowly come up towards a seat. Okay, so for the next one, we are going to be using a block or two, and maybe if you have, I have like a bolster or a pillow or a blanket that you can fold, okay? First, what I'm going to do is put my flat block in between my heels, and then I'm going to sit on top of that block. If this feels like it's too much on your knees, a few options. There's a lot of options, but option number one might be that you are okay with sitting, but it's a little bit uncomfortable. Then I would say you add extra height so you can sit a little taller and there's less compression in the backs of your knees. Okay, this is one option. Another option is that you can put a blanket like I have here with me right behind your knees. So then you have a little extra space there that the backs of the knees are pressing into, and it might be a little easier to sit like this, okay? Then there's also the option of putting the blanket like I'm showing on top of your heels, and then you're sitting also a little taller on your hips. If this is not working for your knees at all, Then you extend your legs in front, and you can take either the Baddha Konasana, the butterfly shape, or you can just do one leg at a time, okay? So we're going to stay here for a moment. Leave your palms on top of your thighs. Roll the shoulders back, lift the front spine, shoulder blades down. And check that your feet are straight back, so they are not turned in or out too much. And then what we are going to try and do is to bring the hands a little further back. You see how I'm walking my fingertips, my hands back. Roll the shoulders, it's not super far. I'm trying to just widen the chest, lift through the center of the chest and the sternum up, and send the shoulder blades down. And keeping my chin off the chest. Easy breathing here, just a moment, creating a gentle back bend. Last breath. And then slowly return. Good. If this is already a big shape for you, you're going to stay here and you're going to repeat what we just did. If you are okay going a little further, perhaps I'm just going to show with a bolster or a pillow behind you. And for this one, I'm going to take the block out. I'm going to come towards that support so I can come a little further down, okay? This is more intense in the knees. So many times, it's a very good way to practice just to have one leg doing it at a time and then coming towards the support. And you stay here, relaxing the shoulder blades into each other behind the heart, and then softening the shoulders down. I'm showing the version of one leg at a time. Trying to evenly press the inner and outer edges of your feet down for the leg that it's doing that bent knee or the Virasana leg. And I left some space in between my sitting bones and the bolster or the pillow. So there's less of a back bend and more release there in the lower back. If this is not happening for you, like I said before, perhaps only with one leg, you stay a little taller like we did before, or coming a little further back, okay? 2 more breaths if you're doing the one leg version. Good, and then keeping the knee close. You see how I'm holding the leg, I'm bringing it back, extending that leg, and then switching to the second one if you did one at a time, okay? If you're doing both, stay there for a few more breaths. If you're coming into the second one, trying to straighten that foot as much as possible, coming into the support, trying to keep that quad heavy, moving towards the earth. And again, like I said, the pillow that I have, there is a little bit of space in between my sitting bones and that pillow, so there's less of a back bend and more of the opportunity to lengthen the spine. Take a couple of breaths. Good, then slowly, either returning to your seat or from the more upright seat, bring the legs back, shake them a little, move the props that you have. Good, and then from there we'll bring the legs back and re-extend our legs with one more downward facing dog. Good, pressing through the center of the heels, lifting through the inner arches again. Make a point on pumping the blood up towards your heart, pushing the mat away with the hands. Walk the hands towards the feet. And this time, again, pressing through the feet, draw the lower belly up, keep the spine dropping over the legs, and one vertebra at a time will come up. Let the feet be your base, your ground, your root to have the strength to lift your whole tree up. Beautiful. Okay, super. We did a lot of leg work to create a lot of opening in our hearts. Now we are going to try and take it into balancing, okay? If you have a wall, you are always welcome to use any piece of furniture or your wall to hold you if you need. The main actions here is that I want us to be super aware of our feet like we've been doing all along, and also our quads. So I'm going to press into the right foot. I'm mirroring you guys, so we go together. Right foot, I want you to lift your toes, press into the base of the big toe and the base of the pinky. Feel that inner arch lifting, even if it's like 1 millimeter or if it's in your head, but you're doing the action of drawing the energy up. It's like a tent in that inner arch, okay? Hands to the hips or taking a wall if you need it. Press firmly into that right foot, lift your left heel, and then you're going to start slowly walking or sliding that left foot up your inner leg until you can go and catch it and sit that foot somewhere in the inseam of your right leg. Maybe it's close to the floor, touching with your toes. Maybe it's a little higher in your shin. Maybe it's a little higher towards the inner knee. So you go wherever it feels that it's comfortable. And again, if you need the wall, go to the wall. Now, this is the tree pose. Maybe you've seen it countless times before. But today what I want us to do is to really get active into that standing leg. So think of your foot first. Ground and spread the base of your toes. Lift through the inner arch. The inner leg should be fiery. It's like really lifting all that energy up, and it's helping you bring your hips towards one another, the sacrum down, the glutes are active, and then you choose where you want your hands. It can be in your hips, it can be in front of the heart. If you feel very stable in this shape and you want to play, arms up, you can send the arms up. So as you stay there for a moment, what I want to say is that your outer hips have a big action here. It's part of the core. So you're firming those hip bones into one another. You're drawing the pelvic floor up, bringing the ribs down. So that's also part of the actions of the leg. And you're using that inner leg where the foot is sitting. It's almost like if you had the block before, right? So with the skin of your left foot, you can press into the inner thigh and take it back, like what you were doing with the block before. Glutes in, another breath. Good. If you have the arms up, I see some of you doing that. Open the arms to the sides. Turn the palms down, release the arms down. Nice. Let's go up again. Turn the palms up. Think of your legs as your base and your root. And then release the arms again. Good. Bring that left knee in. Release and shake it. Woo! Yay! Okay, super. Second side when you feel ready. Shake it a little. Now we are going to press into the left foot. I'm starting with my toes lifted a little because I want to remind myself that I really need to press into the base of the toes, pressing into the inner heel, lifting that inner arch. I almost want to put a tiny tennis ball in there so I can create that arch, or don't forget that tent that I want to have. Good. Hands to the hips first. And the opposite foot, like we did before, you start by sliding, if you want, up the leg, okay? Try to keep the spine tall. If you are bending forward or to the side, it's going to be harder to balance, okay? So I'm really firmly pressing. I'm hugging that quad into that imaginary belt like we did in the beginning. I'm breaking into the belt. When you are able to catch the opposite foot, bring it anywhere inside the leg and return to your base. So again, through the base of the toes, lifting the inner arch, outer edge of that left foot, make it active. Good. And then from there, core, Draw the pelvic floor up, ribs down, hips in. The firming action of the hips will help you hold the right heel into the opposite leg, okay? Beautiful, hands to the hips or in front of the heart. Pick the one that feels comfortable for now. This one closest to your body is the easiest. The more we take the arms out, the more difficult balancing will be. So stay with the one that feels for you stable today, and it's what you can work with. The most important part of today is awareness in our legs. So keep that, glutes active. If you are going with the arms up, then you take them up. Sacrum long, side body long. And if you want to play with me, arms come out and down. Steadiness in the breath. We go back up again. And then we release through the arms last time. The knee comes back, and then we release and we shake it. Nice, good, okay, excellent, good. Let's go back to our mats. From here, just come onto your mat, and actually, before we go all the way down, let's widen the feet so they are more or less a little wider than your hips, toes pointing out towards the sides of your mat and facing you, so different, but for you it's the short side possibly. And then let's come into a squat. Add the block or a pillow or blanket if you need under the heels or underneath your sitting bones. Good, and as we keep the sitting bones heavy, lift through the chest. We'll play just a moment here so we add a little bit more opening. See if you can send both arms up. Release the sitting bones, open up through the chest. Good, bring your right arm inside the right leg and twist to your left. Good, then let's send both arms up again. Nice, release the sitting bones. Beautiful, opposite arm now, the left goes inside the left leg, twist to the right. Good, and now yes, bring that left arm down, right arm down, and with your hands behind you, come to the seat, extend through the legs and shake a little. Ah, good. A lot of burning in the legs. Good, let's come onto our backs and hug the knees in. Rock a little bit from side to side. Good, let's put the feet down for a moment, right foot on top of the left thigh, and bring the knees back again towards the chest. You can thread the right arm inside the right leg. Take a couple of breaths. Good, then we'll release that and take the opposite leg, left leg on top. When you're ready, bring the knees in, thread the left arm, and take that number 4 shape. A few breaths. Stay there for a couple of breaths. I'm just moving closer. Good. Then we'll release that. Arms to the sides. Bring your knees towards the chest. This is the last portion. And we're going to then bring both knees towards the right elbow. So we go as high as it's possible to go. And then you're going to reset the upper back, the shoulders, to release as much as you can. Chin to the left. Good, then slowly back to center. Put your feet down just for a moment. Set your hips a little bit to the right so you have extra space. Bring the knees back in. Let them drop towards the left elbow. Chin to the right. Stay there. I'm just coming to check that all is fine. But stay there for a couple of breaths. And then we slowly return to center. Beautiful. If you want to take a happy baby holding both feet and rocking from side to side, you can do that. Because we're coming towards the end of the practice, if in your room you have a wall that you want to use to put your legs up and end the practice like that, it's extremely beneficial, not only for your nervous system, but for your whole physical body as well. So that can be a beautiful way to end the practice in this modified Shavasana. If you don't have that, no worries. Just you can send, if you want, just for a couple of breaths, your legs up towards the ceiling, like if you are modifying a shoulder stand, right? With the shoulders moving away from the ears, and even adding a block if you want for just a few breaths. And then after those few breaths, each of you are doing different. So if you're just doing that for a moment, take a few breaths and then you come down towards the supine. If you are setting yourself into corpse pose, add any props, blankets, pillows, support for the head, covering of the eyes, anything needed. And then we surrender. We surrender and we practice death, graciously letting go of all of the things that change. Our skin, our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, our possessions, our ideas, so we can return to the core. So we can reconnect with the essence. The key to self-acceptance is that the more connected you are with the unchanging self, the less you suffer from the inevitable changes of the non-self. This ability to discern what is your true self from what is not, to connect with that true, authentic self, and to act as often as possible from that quiet, knowing place, is the key to feeling better as a result of our practice. Receive a deep inhalation through the nose and a big exhale through the mouth, letting it all go. Returning to your room, to your body. Make yourself gradually return. So with the movements that feel appropriate for you, maybe wiggling fingers, perhaps your toes, moving the hands. Invite the face to stay soft and the eyes kind. Take a moment, we are still here. And whenever you feel ready, bending the knees, invite your feet to touch ground, rolling over to one side. Stay there at least for a breath to regroup, and using the hands, the forearms, or anything that you have there for you, pressing up, we come back to the seat that will mark the end of this journey together. You can use again any support, a wall, a sofa, a chair, a block, to find the seat where you can ground again, bringing the palms together. Rub them for a moment into one another. And when you feel the warmth in between the palms, bring that into the heart. Let them both rest in front of the solar plexus. We close this practice returning to the center. As we sit tall and elegant, yet in a soft manner without rigidity, we bring the gaze in, the breath into the center. And the ease of moving from the place of knowing, from the place of wisdom that lies within ourselves. In gratitude for this practice and to all of you for joining me today, let's bring the palms into the prayer position and close with the Om Sam. Inhaling first, big exhale, then breathing in again. Namaste.